So this episode of Escaping Polygamy focuses on Martha's sister Yolanda from the FLDS.
Martha has a 19-year-old sister that needs to escape polygamy. Martha's sister's name is Yolanda, and she's part of the FLDS community. That's Fundamentalist Latter-day Saints.
And this is one of the first episodes that shows an escape from the FLDS instead of from the Order, the Kingston Polygamous group.
We have helped a lot of people escape polygamy from the Kingston group.
I'm leaving the order! Let her out! Break your window and get out of it! Get out!
Amanda, no, do not climb in that window. This is crazy.
Priscilla, run! Go! Just need to get to the taxi.
But we've never helped anybody escape from the FLDS group. That is new territory for us.
We're going to kind of get to see some of the differences, but also a lot of similarities between the Kingston Polygamous group and the FLDS Polygamous group. Starting off with the leader.
Warren Jeffs as their prophet. While Warren Jeffs sits in prison, he receives his revelation from God and passes that to his brother Lyle, who is the bishop of the community.
As the Lord dictates these words to my mind and heart, send this message everywhere you can among the priesthood people.
Here it talks about some of the traits that the leader of the FLDS has. Warren Jeffs, he's gone to jail. He's in jail for 2 life sentences. He is just crazy, man. This guy is insane. But one thing you'll notice that a lot of the prophets of these polygamous groups have crazy backstories and just do some of the most horrific things you could ever imagine. And they have dozens of wives and hundreds of children. It just is crazy. It's insane amounts.
And whose leader has been convicted of raping underage girls.
A Texas jury has sentenced polygamous leader Warren Jeffs to life in prison plus 20 years. Prosecutors used DNA evidence to show Jeffs fathered a child with a 15-year-old. They also played an audio recording of what they said was him sexually assaulting the 12-year-old. His 10,000 followers see him as God's spokesman on earth.
Now, this is something that has somewhat of a similarity, but it's slightly different between the FLDS and the Kingston Polygamous group, because the FLDS really has almost like their own little town where they all gather. And they still have members that are in other spots other than this town, but there's kind of this main town down near the border of Utah and Arizona, and it's even been on the news. It's gotten so much attention because they dress completely different and they act so different, almost like very old-fashioned. And so it's very easy to notice that this town is very different from the outside world. And it's their own little community. Like, they talk about how it's the moment you're in there, if you aren't dressed like them or you're not one of them, then you stand out. And it can feel very much like unwelcoming if you're not one of them.
I am legitimately nervous to go into FLDS territory. Colorado City, Arizona has been making national news with their FLDS community.
Colorado City, Arizona is a very unusual place. The desert town is the religious seat of the FLDS Church, which promotes and practices polygamy.
And so it's even been said that they have their own kind of like police force within this town.
Go into town, as soon as we're in there for a little bit, large trucks, they call it the God Squad, come and follow us and try to intimidate us as we try to get the truth out there and find out what's going on.
That the leaders of the FLDS basically control, and they use it. They call it the God Squad.
Colorado City is run by the FLDS. They are in government positions. They are the cops. They are the firefighters. They have cameras all over watching their community.
It's kind of creepy, them having so much of this power and authority amongst these people, and it's like almost off limits to the outside world.
And this violation is going on every day.
Willie Jessup, former bodyguard for Warren Jeffs, says he's seen the control room himself and confirms city cameras were used by the church.
The second we get there, they know we're there, and they're going to be watching us.
Whereas in comparison to the Order, we do kind of have like a central location in West Valley near Salt Lake City, Utah, but it's not like a gated community or anything. It's just people just having homes kind of spreaded throughout that area, and they're all mostly in that general city, but there's still, a few out and about in other places. It's not a defined line area of where all the members are. It's just they all just relatively live somewhat close to one another, but like, you know, amongst a lot of the non-members throughout the city as well. So it's definitely different in that aspect.
I want to leave because I don't believe in polygamy. I want to go and finish getting my education because I went to 4th grade. That's it. I guess my parents didn't think that I was important enough to have an education. I wanted to get me a job and get me a car, an apartment. I do want to fall in love and get married and have children when the time is right. I want to enjoy life.
The FLDS polygamous group is extremely strict when it comes to attire and the old-fashioned lifestyle. They always wear clothing like full long dresses for the girls or long pants for the guys and shirts that cover up the entire arm. And it's their form of like modesty, and they're not supposed to wear anything that would attract someone of the opposite sex. And
there's a dress code. Our bodies are temples. We are taught to have our bodies covered up down to our hands and up to our necks and down to our ankles, and not wear anything that will attract opposite sex towards us.
Yolanda shares that she has basically dressed this way her entire life. They're just so strict, even with the girls not being able to cut their hair. They're supposed to keep it as a sign of purity or something like that. They can't have Wi-Fi or TVs and things like that. It's just so crazy strict for them. It's insane.
We're not supposed to cut our hair. We're supposed to keep our hair neat and combed and up. We are not allowed to have internet or TVs, basically anything that's entertaining, just anything that will distract you from moving forward and doing what you need to do.
This part shows the brainwashing to such an extreme extent. Yolanda has been in this group her entire life. And so she thinks the way she thinks like anyone in the group, has been in this group her entire life, and they have not told her that their prophet, Warren Jeffs, has been sentenced to life in prison plus 20 years.
Convicted of raping underage girls.
A Texas jury has sentenced polygamous leader Warren Jeffs to life in prison plus 20 years. Prosecutors used DNA evidence to show Jeffs fathered a child with a 15-year-old.
And even when she is being told that, she still believes that he will be coming out of prison any day now. And she firmly believes that. Even though she doesn't like the church, she's trying to escape. She knows that it's got its issues and its problems, but the brainwashing parts of it still remain so strong that she believes he's going to get out some way, somehow, some magical revelatory way, I guess. I don't know. Isn't that wild?
You think Warren Jeffs is going to get out of prison?
Pretty soon.
Are you aware that Warren Jeffs was sentenced to life in prison plus 20 years?
They never told us that. Like, he's like gonna come forth any day, so we're supposed to be prepared. So.
Okay, so you have not been told that he may not come out of prison?
Oh, he will come out. I know that. I mean, it's pretty obvious.
It just goes to show how deep the brainwashing can go. Fear tactics are so commonly used amongst these groups. Yolanda was told by her own mother that if she left the religion and left the FLDS group, that she would be raped and killed and thrown into a dumpster.
I learned about the outside world through Martha because, like, my mother's always told me that if I come out here, I'm just gonna get raped and killed, basically, and thrown in a dumpster. By her leaving, she's helped me realize that you actually can get out here and have a life.
It's so clear that it's a fear tactic, but they don't have anything to compare to. They can't fact check that when they just stay in the group and they don't have any connections to the outside. And so she just believed that growing up until her sister left and was able to tell her that that's not true. But that was the way she had to find out. Man.
What stuff is yours?
Just all this right here.
Okay.
Oh, man.
Janetta, come here. I want to see you, please. I just want to say hi. Look, I just want to say hi real quick. Because I'm never going to get to see you again. Mom's never going to let me.
The goodbyes are always the hardest, man.
I love you guys. Don't cry.
Saying goodbye to the siblings is always the hardest. Because it's very rare to have much of a connection. Oh, man.
If you ever need anything, call me, okay? Okay? If you need anything ever.
Growing up in a polygamous home oftentimes lacks love and affection.
Let's go. People driving around.
Give me a hug.
You ready?
Yeah, we gotta go.
We gotta go, we gotta go.
Bye, guys.
And I personally know that the most meaningful relationships that are built in that environment are amongst the siblings. The ones you grow up your whole life with. And see yourself in them. And even though you might not fully know what love feels like, that's the closest thing you have to compare it to. Seeing Yolanda say goodbye to her siblings was really emotional. Every time I see these escapes, it always will remind me of when I left. And when I had to say goodbye to my younger siblings. Not knowing if they would ever talk to me again. And knowing that the younger siblings don't understand. And you don't have the time to properly explain to them. You don't get to let them know how you feel and why you're making the choices that you're making. And they're oftentimes just confused and sometimes angry. And it's just so sad. One thing that makes this so hard is the lack of closure. Because being disowned by your family oftentimes happens so suddenly. You can feel such betrayal by the people that you were so close with. And that lack of closure can be so difficult. It just makes it hard to come to terms with everything and to be able to move on from it. It makes someone question their identity, the reality of who they are, their own values, who they are as a person, their self-confidence, and it just can make it so hard. And of course you lose that family support, that community that you've known your whole life and gotten so used to.
Hey,
Clock's
are you ready?
ticking.
Does anyone know you're moving yet? I mean, clearly your siblings know.
There's people walking down there.
Did they call Mom?
Holy crap.
There's 2 trucks that keep circling around, so we gotta get out of here.
We gotta go. Oh crap, we gotta go.
Let's go now.
We need to go like right now.